Good day, traders. This is Pavel here from FTMO. And as you might have noticed, maybe this time I'm interviewing a lady. Okay, welcome to the interview, Holly.
Hello, thank you.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, FTMO is a project where we're looking for successful and experienced traders. So if you are one of them and you just need a capital for trading, you can go to ftmo.com. We'll put you through stress test. We'll see how you trade, what are your trading skills, risk parameters, and you will go through our challenge verification before you get funded and you will manage your FTMO account. Holly is a great example of a trader who thinks differently about her FTMO account. She has made a nice profit on her first month of trading, and she decided not to withdraw the profit, but to grow the account. So I'm very happy to learn more about how Holly thinks differently about her funded account and to learn more about her experience going through the funding process and how she trades her FTMO funded account. So once again, Holly, welcome to the interview and thanks so much for accepting the invitation.
Thank you.
Perfect. So could you first briefly introduce yourself, tell our traders who you are, how you trade, something a little bit about you?
My name's Holly. I've been trading since September 2018. When my daughter was born, I decided that I needed something that would hopefully eventually give me some more freedom, allow us to travel and just spend more time with her. So I looked online and come across Forex and kind of been hooked ever since.
Right, so how long you trade already?
So September 2018 was when I started. I found it through Instagram. I was looking, I kind of initially got sucked into the get rich quick scheme and then very quickly realized that you can't get rich quick. And that's where most people fell. So then I found this course online, did that for a year. And it was great. It taught me a lot. It taught me everything I kind of knew about the market, but I never found consistency with it. So since then, I've changed to where I'm with now, Guerrilla trading, and I'm now consistently profitable and hitting quite high figures. So it's good.
Right, sounds good. So we'll talk about Guerrilla trading later on, where you've learned about where to trade. So your journey actually is pretty fast. So that's something a little over 2 years, right? Since you've started first,
Yeah.
and it's only I believe 4 months since you've taken your first FTMO challenge.
Yep.
So since then, have you traded your personal account or did you just demo trade?
So I had a personal account which I was doing fine on, and then when I started doing the FTMO account, I don't know if it was because the FTMO account had so much money in and my account had a lot less money in. I'm not sure if I wasn't taking my personal account as seriously because I was doing really well on the FTMO account and my personal account was going down. So I kind of took the decision to just quit my personal account, put the money back in my bank, and just now solely trade FTMO.
I see. All right. So when you started in January this year, 2020, you've taken two challenges, I believe, that didn't go well. You happened to violate one of the trading objectives.
Yeah.
So after these two first challenges, which you violated, have you approached trading differently? Have you learned anything from those first two failures, or have you adapted anything new?
Yeah, so the first two challenges, I just felt so much pressure, something that I've wanted for it's felt like such a long time, and it's kind of is all I do every day. Is focus on getting this challenge. So I felt extreme pressure, and it was also in January where a lot of my community, my trading community, were getting some incredible trades, and I got fear of missing out. I'd see that they'd got in this amazing trade and I'm not in it, and I'd get into it too late because I didn't want to miss out on it, and then I'd just get taken straight out, and then I'd revenge trade, and I kind of got to the point where if I was say -5% on the account, I feel like I'm clawing my way back, and I just again it was just horrible, so I kind of just blew the account.
I see. You mentioned fear of missing out. It's a very common phenomenon. How did you deal with that?
So after the first two challenges that I failed, I was like, what am I doing? I've obviously, it's January, February time. It's just been Christmas, and I've just bought two accounts, which I thought I was going to pass, and I didn't. And I kind of felt a little bit down about it. And then I knew I could do it, and I just said to myself, I'm not gonna look at anyone else's trades, not gonna look on Instagram and see people making huge percentages. I'm just gonna focus on myself and just take it slowly. And I just need to focus on it and do it myself, and not look on social media, not look on certain forums and see things, because that's when it goes wrong.
And it obviously worked for you.
Pardon?
And it worked for you.
Yes, exactly.
Right, sounds good. All right, Holly, where have you learned to trade? Have you had any mentor, or did you follow any guru? You've already mentioned about Guerrilla trading, right? So can you elaborate more about this?
So in September 2019, a year after I was with the other community, Joshua Bunker and Dave Jason, I used to go to these monthly meetings in Birmingham with other traders, and I met them both through there, and they were incredible traders. So they both set up Guerrilla Trading, and Joshua Bunker's the main kind of mentor there, and his trades are just ridiculous. I used to follow him, used to see him do stuff and speak to him, and I couldn't believe the percentages he was making. And so I obviously left where I was, joined with them, and have never looked back. Like I said, I was never consistent before. I was having negative months and would get really excited if I had like a plus 2% month. And then for the last 2 months, I've hit over 20% with their trading strategy.
I see. And how long have you been with the Guerrilla trading?
So since September 2019.
Right. Have you taken any course, or did you learn while observing others, or how did it work?
They have education videos, and they have a forum, a massive community. And the community is amazing. After all the communities I've seen, everyone wants everyone else to succeed. Everyone is succeeding. And he does like trade recaps, and does forecasting, and you see everything that he's in. And I don't want it to sound like there's a signal provider. He'll do his forecasting on a Sunday, obviously, like everyone else does. Falcon did a weekly watch list. Guerrilla this is what I'm looking at. We do our forecasting before that. He'll do a trade recap, so he'll show 2 days a week. He'll be like, I've been in this trade, and we've all caught the same trade because we all learn the same strategy. There's like a huge forum community, and everyone's amazing on there. We all do interactive back testing. So we all get involved with, say, Euro USD. We'll trade the bullet, and we'll go back in 2018, 2019, and we'll all do it. And it's great because we can learn from other people. So I'll put my results up, everyone, and then when someone's done better than me, I can look and think, how have they managed to get that percentage and me only this percentage? And I can see, well, actually, they've looked for continuation bullets, where I only look from coming out of an ascending or descending channel. So that's...
Yeah. So you're sort of a community of traders, and where do you mostly interact? Is it on Telegram?
No, they've got a website and is on the forum. It started off on Telegram, but then they just grew rapidly. So now they've got their website, and there's the forum in it and everything.
I see. Yeah, they've grown quite a lot because we're getting some good traders from Guerrilla Trading as well. True.
I think they said 47% of their community is funded.
Right, that sounds great. All right. I don't have the statistics right now with me, but yeah, I know that we're getting good traders from them.
Yeah, whether that's all through you, it could be through some other people as well, but
Okay, now talking about your trading, could you just briefly describe your strategy or your trading system?
We trade pure price action. There's no indicators. We're just based on the 1 hour chart. There's 2 different entry types, and that's it. There's only 2 entries. So you see your chart, you're looking, and that your entry will happen, you get involved. And the management is amazing because there's literally no discretion. You're following the trend on the way up or the way down to really get the most out of the market.
Right, so pretty much technical analysis focused trading, right?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Do you also incorporate fundamentals somehow?
No.
Not at all?
No.
So when you have that weekly video review on Sunday, do you look in the economic calendar to see what news releases are coming up, or?
No, I only look. I've actually only started noticing those things when I get the emails from you guys saying what I can and can't trade. That's the only time I ever look at it. And NFP now, I won't trade NFP either.
I see. Did our restrictions somehow limit you in your trading?
No, I don't think so. I thought they would. When I heard about it, I thought this is going to be tricky. But because I was trying to work out on the calendar what I can and can't trade, but then I get an email of everything that I can't trade. So I just make a note of the times and know that I can't trade 2 minutes before or after. So I think it's fine.
Right. Here's the thing, once you're in the funded account, on the FTMO account, we have certain limitation when it comes to trading during the news releases, because we have selected just a couple of major news releases during which we do not want our funded traders to open or close any new or existing account trade on that particular instrument of the release. Right. So this is in order to secure our funded accounts, to make sure that we don't incur any slippages, any latency or execution issues. So that's good to know that you trade your way through these releases without mostly considering them, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So after you have passed your first challenge and verification, which is now funded account, you've taken another 2 challenges. So do you trade them differently, or do you just trade them through some copier, same way, same strategy?
Yeah. So I got the funded account, and then I was like, I'm going to take another challenge because I thought this is great, and I didn't bother doing it. And then the week later, I was like, right, I'm going to apply for another challenge, and again, I didn't do it. And both of those times, I would have passed. So now and then I did. I heard about a trade copier, and I thought I'm just going to get it and just do 2 at once. And then I happened to have done it in April, when April's been quite difficult. So at the moment they're not doing great, but I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yeah, that'll be fine, because I've seen your progress. You had some small losing streaks, but then you had a very good strike, which covered up for all those small losses. So because of that, your risk to reward is much higher, but
Yeah.
the win rate is a little bit lower. So
Yeah.
that compensates for it basically.
Yeah.
So okay, talking about the current market situations, did you have to adapt your trading strategy somehow because of the coronavirus situation and the volatility that we have seen in the markets, or did you just stick to your strategy and trade it the same way?
So in March with the coronavirus, it was very volatile, but it was really impulsive, and it worked. It was great for me, I have to admit. Like I loved it. It was brilliant. Like I got some really good moves out of it. The one thing I did do, I didn't do it initially, but I made my stop loss bigger, because I go normally with quite tight stop losses to make the most out of the market, but the moves were just ridiculous. So I'd rather have less risk to reward and stay in the trade rather than a bigger risk to reward but get taken out on every trade. So that was it really. I literally just made my stop loss bigger.
Right. So that was the only thing that you had to adjust in your trading style, right? Besides, nothing changed with the strategy, with the underlying strategy and the way you prepare yourself every week, but only
Well,
widen the stop loss and the profit target.
well, that in March that was the case. In April, I've reduced the amount of trades I'm doing, because April is really funny for me. So March, all I did was adjust the stop loss, whereas now in April, I'm not changing the strategy, but I'm looking more at the market and looking at bigger ranges. Whereas normally I look at quite tight ascending channels and get involved, whereas now these ascending channels are a lot larger. So I'm now just looking at the bigger picture, kind of still on the hour chart, but looking at the bigger picture and just trying to see if we've broken that range.
All right. Okay. Sounds interesting. Let's have a look now at your account metrics so that we have an idea about how your trading on the funded FTMO account looks like. Here we are. So, looking at your account metrics, you have configured your account to be traded with the broker Admiral Markets, and your funded account is with you since 10th of March. And you've already had one profit split, which was on the 10th of April, which was just recently. And from the information that I've got is that you have profited $18,000 in 1 month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And out of that, we took out 30%. And here's the interesting thing: your account was somewhere here, up at around 80,000, and you've kept your profits on the account, right? The reason being is that you're compounding it so that you have much greater values for your maximum daily loss and the maximum loss. If we have a look at your maximum permitted loss now, it's $18,000. So this buffer is very sufficient, very nice.
Yeah.
Right. If I have a look at your account now, I see that from the trading journal that you only trade Forex. Now,
Yes.
is there any specific reason, or have you thought of trading indexes or commodities as well?
I've never looked into the indices. It's just I've never looked into it, but I quite like gold and oil, but I've not traded it for about a year because I was doing that with my other strategy. But with this one, I've just stuck to certain pairs. It may be something I look into eventually, but I've got so much to back test still on all the other pairs that I'm just sticking with that right now.
All right. With regards to optimization, I'm looking at your symbols that you tried it. There were how many? I think just some forex pairs. However, some of these were not profitable. For example, Euro Japanese yen, New
Yeah.
Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, and Kiwi dollar and a British pound dollar. Have you thought of optimizing your strategy or maybe removing those instruments which were not profitable for you and just sticking with those which were profitable, like Euro dollar, Aussie dollar, Euro pound?
Yeah, I have. I need to look into that and backtest them even more, and just see what results I get.
How do you calculate position sizing, volume lots? Do you have static management or any? Is it percentage based?
Yeah, I just do 1% of my account size.
Okay, looking at your trading journal, sometimes most of the times actually you trade intraday, but sometimes you hold position for a longer period of time. So tell us a little more about it. How long is your average holding period?
I don't know my average holding period. For me, for me, I like to hold them as long as possible because I will manage it with the trend. So the longer I'm holding it, generally it means the more money I'm making because I'm just going with the trend. So I do like to hold them for as long as possible. But if there's a trend change, I'll get taken out and then I'll look for a buy or sell in the opposite direction.
So I see that your low win rate, 32%, we already mentioned that, is compensated with a very high risk to reward, 2.89, which is very nice. And your average profit is actually far bigger than your usual small loss. So is that a principle of your strategy?
Yeah, so it's all for me. It's all about probabilities. Through my back testing, I've realised that I can take with the strategy I do. There can be a lot of losses, and I do take. I can take quite a lot of losses, as you know, from the 32% win rate. However, the probabilities do play out, and the winners do take care of the losers. So I may get 6 losses in a row, but then I get that one trade that hits 7, 8, 9, 10%, and it covers all of that plus gives me some profit as well. So that is the nature of the strategy.
Absolutely, and that was the nature of your trading. You had a couple of losing streaks, but then you had the trade which covered it up, and it was in your challenge verification as well. But then
Mm,
again, there was one big trade which covered for all those losses.
yeah.
Right now, you have some small losing streak, but I believe the big win is just around the corner. Considering the same progress that you've had from the inception of this trading.
Yeah. Fingers
Right.
crossed.
Fingers crossed, of course. So, Holly, how do you monitor your trading objectives? Do you use any software in the platform or just regular overview your metrics?
Yeah, no, I have the FTMO matrix up on my laptop all the time. So when I'll check the charts on my laptop, I'll refresh it on there and just have a look at it just so I can see where I'm at.
Right. And here's a good example, as I've mentioned already, your maximum permitted loss, your maximum daily loss, permitted loss is still the same, 5% because it's a daily loss. But your maximum permitted loss is $18,800 as of now,
Yeah.
which is because you're compounding this account. You kept your profits, your 70% of profits on the account, so
Yeah.
that your original 10,000 plus your currently accrued profit, which is 8,800, is there on your account, and that is in your favor, right? So, even if you have more and longer period of losing streaks ahead, you don't need to be worried that much because you have a very safe buffer in front of you.
I was just saying that earlier. I was just talking about that. I said, I'm so glad I've kept the money in the account because April has been a difficult month. If I had taken that money out and I would have started again on 100,000, I would be down, I think, a couple of percent already. And I would be feeling a lot of pressure. Whereas now I'm already up. I've already got profit in there. The pressure's off. Like I don't need to worry about it. Whereas before I'd be like, wait, I'm getting closer to where I could potentially lose my account. So I'm so glad I kept the money in the account. The pressure is gone.
Exactly. And in your case, I believe the most important thing right now is just to monitor your maximum daily loss to be sure that you do not go overboard with this $5,000 any single day. And in case things don't go well in the markets, you have a sufficient buffer, and you have you are pretty much safe.
Yeah.
So longevity in mind, very important thing here. All right. So looking at the open time statistics, I've noticed that your winners are only in early European session. So have you thought of eliminating others? Like you have a losing times at 5 p.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m. Whereas your winners are when you open the trade at 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning, 12 noon. So maybe something to do with London Open.
Yeah. See, I didn't really notice that until I seen this question. So that's something for me to look into as well. I need to track these kind of statistics better. Because it's certainly, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd rather be just trading in the morning than managing throughout the afternoon and not have to worry all day about, I better take this trade, better take that trade. I'd much rather get all the trades on in the morning and then I can just manage them.
Exactly. And statistically speaking, you had 50 trades on this particular account, which is a good sample of trades, but maybe just trade one more month to have a bigger sample and see if this is the true. If the European open times are much profitable for you, then you can just tweak the strategy and just remove opening times later on in the New York session.
Yeah.
That would probably help you to gain more profits, but you never know. That's just a hypothetical speaking. All right, Holly, what is your exit strategy? Do you split positions? Do you trail your stops, or are you using break even?
No, so I trail my stops with the trend. So as soon as say for example we're on short, as soon as I've broken the low, I'll manage my trade by moving my stop loss to the previous high, and that way it allows me to squeeze every single pip out of the market. And then when we have a trend change, if the opportunity presents itself, I'll get straight back in the other way, and then not only will I make the most on the way down, I'll hopefully then get the move on the way up as well.
All right. Let's now talk about your trade plan. So, do you have a trade plan? Do you follow plan? If so, how complex is it?
Yes, I'm very good at following it now. It's taken a while, but I follow it now 100%. And it's the easiest thing in the world. It kind of, I think when I first thought I needed a trade plan, I thought I needed loads of pages with loads of things on, and it kind of scared me to do one. Whereas now it's like 2 pages and it's mainly with drawings and photos. It's really easy. I've literally got 2 entries, so it's easy.
Yeah, simpler the better, right?
Exactly.
You're right. How did you deal with the losing streaks? Did it have any effect on your psychology?
Yes, it's really difficult. So that's why the main thing is I've said I like I just said I am so glad I've compounded the account, because right now I would be feeling stressed. I'd be feeling like I need to get in trades to make to get into profit. And it just wouldn't be good. Whereas now, don't get me wrong, I'm still feeling a little bit under pressure because I was I was doing better than what I am now, but I don't feel any pressure. Like today I haven't even traded, which is unusual for me. Normally I'm trading every day, so I feel a lot calmer now. But it affects me. I'll be at home, and inevitably, if I've had a good day, I'll be on top of the world. I'll be feeling great. I'll be dancing around. And have a bad day, I can just tell by my mood. Like my mood does change because it's difficult. So I've actually bought a diary now, because a lot of people say in your trade journal you should write how you feel, and I've never done that. And my trade journal's on the computer, so I don't really do it. But I've actually bought a diary to just write how I feel, because especially now I'm trading live funds and I'm trying to go for bigger funds. I do. I feel like I need to write it down and just get it off my chest, because I'll speak to people, but they don't always understand how. They'll say stuff to make you feel better, but they don't really get how I'm feeling.
Right. So how do you journal? Do you use any software or do you just use Excel or how do you do that?
Just Google Docs.
All right. And it works for you.
Yeah. Someone in the Guerrilla community have set up this amazing. It's just a spreadsheet, but it's amazing. It's got like pie charts. Again, it's got a bit like what you said about the different times of the day, your strongest day of the week, your weakest day of the week, and your percentages and stuff. It is really good, actually.
Nice. And do you review your trades, your trading journal, let's say on a weekly basis?
Yeah. So what I've started to do is on a weekend, I'll go onto my trading view and I'll get rid of all my trades I've done. I'll like hide them and I'll back test the previous week and I'll see trades that I've entered, see trades that I've missed and why did I miss them. And it allows me, because I was finding ASR really difficult. Whereas now when I just back test it and I look at actually why didn't I take that trade and I can kind of go through it then a little bit like that, I find that a lot better. So I really like doing it that way.
And then the FOMO kicks in.
Yeah, yeah, why can't I pick that? Yeah, exactly. But then I find it so much better though because I look at it and think I did it the other week, and because I maybe didn't manage correctly or I did something, and I could have had an extra 13.5% just that week, just by doing something that I didn't do. So it's really good for me. It really and then last week I was feeling a little bit down because I'd lost a few trades and I did it yesterday, my ASR, and I would have taken the same trades. So it made me feel not so bad. It wasn't I was just doing bad trades. It was just that's what I would have done anyway. So it is what it is.
Right. Well, sometimes we leave money on the table, right?
Yeah.
Happens. All right. Do you follow someone on the social media? Do you have some trading guru or somebody who inspires you?
Joshua Bunker.
Besides him?
Oh, not really. Like I follow lots of traders, but there's no one. No, not really. No, I mean I just like to look at their lives, what they're doing, and think that's going to be me soon.
All right. How do you combine your full-time job with your trading?
Well, luckily with this strategy, I only need to look. I'll forecast in the morning before I go to work, and then I just need to check my phone at 5 minutes to the hour to see if any positions look like they're lining up ready for a trade. Most of the time they're not. If they are, probably go to the toilet, quickly put my trade on, and then have a coffee, and then go back to work. So it's not. I don't need to be sat there looking at it.
Right.
So that's quite good because if I'm at home and I'm in a trade, I do get to the point where I'm just there staring at it, especially if it's going in the wrong direction. So at least with work, I can quickly check 5-2. It takes me like a minute, unless there's a trade going on, and then it'll take me 2 minutes. So that's how I do that.
So you also trade from the mobile phone or from tablet?
I only trade from my phone. I didn't used to, but now I use MT4 and I've got a Mac, so it's just easier just to do it on my phone, which again is even better for me because I've got used to that now. So it's just ease. I could be anywhere, and if I can just see it come on, mark my trade on, I could be having a massage or something, and I just quickly put my trade on and it's done.
Right. Okay, you're the female in this mostly male-dominated territory. How do you feel as a female trader? Do you meet with other female traders, or do you mingle with other traders around you, or are you coming to some meetups?
Yeah, so I still go to the Birmingham meetup every month. Not at the moment, obviously we're in lockdown, but we generally I go to Birmingham and have a meetup. There's this one girl I speak to. She's in the community I was in previously, and that's working really well for her. So she's still there, but we'll still have weekly calls just to have a catch up. And also because we're both girls, we probably are maybe a little bit more emotional than guys, and we probably do overthink quite a lot. So I'd rather speak to her, because if I just start speaking to some of the guys like that, they wouldn't want to speak to me again. So we save that for each other, and she kind of knows how I feel and I know how she feels, and it just works. So yeah, that's really nice.
It's always good to have friends around you who can help you and support you on the way. Right. Holly, is it easier for you to trade your FTMO funded account now when you do not have any profit target to chase? Whereas, in the challenge, there's a profit target of 10% and then in the verification only 5%. But now in the FTMO account, you don't have to worry about chasing any profits. So that's supposed to, give you a peace of mind, psychological relief. So is it easier for you now?
Yes, it is. It's a lot easier because, like you said, the pressure's off. I've got the account now, and if the trades present themselves, I'll take them. But if they don't, I don't need to worry thinking I've got 3 days left and I've got 7% to get. So yeah, it's a lot better.
Right. Was it difficult for you to get those 10% in the first stage during the challenge? Because sometimes traders say that it's too much, but considering that we allow you to lose 10% as well, so that's a balanced ratio 1 to 1, and from the investor's perspective, it wouldn't make sense to, accept more losses than what the investor is targeting. So making 10% in the challenge, was it difficult for you?
It was actually my first 10% month. Is my first double figure month doing your FTMO challenge. So that's why I really wanted to do it, but I never quite made 10%. And then I did the challenge, and so the first 2 times, obviously, I didn't get it because of the pressure. But I did it in February, and it was quite a good month. So I think nowadays the strategy I'm in now, 10% is more than achievable. But other strategies that some people do, I think 10% is quite a lot for them.
Right, and the verification must have been a piece of cake for you, right? Because 5% on a profit target only and having twice the duration of
Yeah.
60 days. How long it took you, by the way, to complete your verification?
I think it only took me a couple of days. I know I was
Right.
waiting around for maybe like 7 days.
Right. So you were just waiting for that period of minimum 10 trading days to pass,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Fair
Which
enough.
is a great position to be in.
Yeah, we have those 10 trading days because we want to see traders consistency. We do not like to see when traders scores the entire challenge or verification in 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, because they got lucky, maybe like one lucky trade. Yeah,
Exactly, and it doesn't really say much about the trader's qualities. When we evaluate a trader, we want to see the consistency, and we want to see that there was no luck involved,
yeah,
predominantly during his or her trading.
yeah.
Right. Okay. So Holly, on the last note, would you have any piece of advice or anything to say to traders who are now battling in the challenge, or those who are trying to get through, or just maybe thinking about joining FTMO and start, those who are inspired by you maybe and want to be funded traders? What would you tell them?
So I get a few people have asked me this since I've done it, and the main things I say is don't let the pressure get to you, because that is the worst thing. As soon as you let that pressure get to you, you'll just mess it up. Don't get fear of missing out. Just focus on what you know. Don't look at anyone else's trades. Just do you. And the last thing I say to take the pressure off is there is no race, because as long as you're above 0%, you will get a go the next month. So rather than try and rush it and mess it up, you can take as long as you need to take with it. You just need to be consistently profitable, and it will come in time.
Right. And I'll just also point on this thing. When we spoke before we started this interview, you said that you thought, as any other traders out there, that FTMO is too good to be true, right? And you are now 100% convinced that we pay in time, we refund you the challenge and everything. So anything you could say about this? Because a lot of traders think they go through the reviews, they're not sure, they look in YouTube videos, they listen to other traders on some blogs. So what
Yeah.
would you say from your own experience, about us as a company?
So I read up on a lot of different firms that are similar to you guys, and I felt the same as what probably most people feel, that it does seem too good to be true. But out of everyone, you seem the most fair. Like, you get the biggest drawdown. Your rules are more than fair. You email me every day with what times I shouldn't trade, and it's only 2 minutes before and 2 minutes after, so I don't even need to do any hard work. I got it there on an email telling me when to do it. The only thing you tell me I need to do is close my trades by end of play on Friday, and that's it. It's brilliant, and yeah, you've paid me back my refund straight away. It's been brilliant, and I've seen other prop firms, and you just can't pass them because they don't give you enough drawdown, and then you can't even use 1% risk, and there's so many rules involved. Whereas yours is easy. There are no rules really. Certain things you can't trade. Close by Friday night. 10% drawdowns, brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we try to, thanks for recognizing that. We try to, not to give any restrictions or limitations to traders. We want to give you the best conditions, free hands basically, so that you can trade according to your trading style. We just care about the basic risk management strategy, which is a drawdown and scoring some profits in the evaluation stage. And that's it. You trade whatever style you like. You choose the platform, you choose the broker, and you have a leverage at your disposal as well. So, there's no limitation or restriction whatsoever from us because we want our traders to succeed.
Yeah.
And you're an example of that. You're a perfect and powerful female trader.
Thank you.
All right, Holly, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on the interview, taking the time, and sharing your experience with our traders. And I wish you the best of luck and your trading progress, just as you've shown us before. And I wish your account the longevity in mind.
Me too. Thanks very much.
Thank you. See you.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye.